pod bay doors, Count.
I'm sorry, Gabe. I'm afraid I can't do that.
So we're talking about mid-90s. Jonah Hill's directorial debut came out in last year, so 2018.
Jonah Hill, of course, popular for Super Bad and 21 Jump Street and tons
Wolf
of
of
other...
Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh.
Not to mention his 2 times Academy Award nominee for Wolf of Wall Street and for Moneyball. So he's coming in with like the comedic sense, starting out with something like Super Bad and Judd Apatow films, and then working into this like kind of serious actor, getting, Academy nods. Some things that I immediately thought were interesting about the film, more than anything, like being a 90s kid myself, like was born in 1980, so mid-90s to me was like my youth.
Yeah.
That was it. It resembled, now I was never a skater, but what he did well right out the gate, like I have nothing but really applause for the film for almost all the way through. He hit the mark on everything that felt right in that era. And so like I had friends that were skaters, but I wasn't a skater. But immediately the one thing that I resonated with at the very start was just was some of the music. The soundtrack throughout the whole film. So not being a heavy skater and into that too much, but being very much into hip hop. The music, the scores, you had like The Far Side from, Los Angeles. You had like Chubb Rock. You had Wu-Tang, Gangstar, even people that weren't in the soundtrack of the film but resembled that era.
Yeah.
Like all that, Cypress Hill, like all that stuff to me, it took me back to like being in my friend's room when I was 13, 14, 15 years old and just popping in CDs and listening to Ice Cube.
I mean, but there was even like, Kissed by a Rose by Seal.
True.
I mean,
so
he
had
a pretty good gamut.
And then the Pixies is in it as well, So to me, that was the first thing that kind of resonated, was the music that took me into the era. Like, he nailed it. He wasn't so intrusive with it that it was trying to it blended in nicely. So I thought the music was great.
What's crazy is for me, it wasn't necessarily the music that brought me into the 90s. It was the dialogue.
It was part of it. Yeah, but
but for me, a different perspective of the music. I wasn't really into all that music. I mean, I was aware of it, but that wasn't really to me, it was the dialogue. I mean, here's the one that kind of got me. It was like, would you rather suck your dad's dick or eat out your mom? I mean, because we did that shit. I mean, not this, but
would you rather?
Would you rather?
Yes,
and it was, I mean, it was weird. That little bit right there, that's what brought me back into the 90s. It's funny as hell.
But that, right, and I agree. Like, yeah. It's definitely that teenage humor. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking, like, that scene itself it feels a little, because even them in the scene, they're like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But then they, like, get into it and they keep going. And that, to me, is, like, the teenager essence, which is, like, it's like a weird conversation. And you're like, maybe we shouldn't talk about it, but you just keep going.
Keep doing it.
And so when his name too, the character that play, his name's Fuck Shit.
Fuck Shit, yeah.
And his response to me is the funniest, because then he's like, I don't know, but I'm drugging him first. And then the one kid says,
You're gonna rape
your parents? So it like takes it to this whole other.
Oh, he's
great. Level, yeah.
It actually takes something that, for me, like, immediately you kind of go, that's kind of a little uncomfortable, because you're talking about, like, sucking dad's dick. And then he changes it into something that's almost funny, and you laugh at it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because he's like, you're going to rape your parents. So I think, so that kind of stuff, when you're a kid, like, he was hitting on that little teenage essence and using the proper dialogue. Like, it didn't feel polished. It felt like a real conversation.
That's what I was going to say. The actors that he found to do this were the most natural kid. It didn't seem like they were reading lines to me.
So there's
the direction.
Yeah, which is fantastic, because what I was looking at this and looking into some of the how he did it, and he was interested in finding real skaters and not interested in finding actors. So he said he held a couple auditions with real actors, and it just wasn't bringing the tone. Like, it didn't bring the style.
Because they didn't act like skaters.
Because they didn't have that, whatever that is, inside. So he went out and found skaters. And this Nakel Smith, the black kid with the dreads, who plays Ray,
fantastic. Yeah.
He's one of the best skaters in the world, like, just by nature. Like, that's what his job. Like, he does a plethora of things, like a skater. Apparently he's a rapper and a hip-hop artist. He does all this stuff. Very, like, multifaceted Renaissance type kid. But he went out and found him, and then Sunny Suljic, which is the kid that plays Sunburn, the kid that plays Stevie.
I think it's hilarious that it's real Sunny Sunburn.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. He's also a real skater, and so is his name's Olin Prennett. He's the kid that plays Fuck Shit. They're all real skaters. So that worked to his advantage. That was a great. I thought, like you were saying, that's a great. I feel like that's ballsy too.
It's been a lot. It is risky.
I feel like that's ballsy.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at film history, like, that's borrowing. Like, there's something there. If you look at old Italian neo-realist films, like from the 40s, right? Bicycle Thief, Roberto, all these different people. They pulled the Italian neo-realist films would pull in non-traditional actors or non-actors, however you want to call it, people that were going through things but weren't for professional actors by trade, and it brought something different to the film. And so I think he did the same thing, like going out and taking the chance on working with people who weren't actors but could carry that,
well, it's not just finding
weight.
Yeah, it's finding people that are going to carry your film from first frame to end frame. It's not, I mean, because you'll find a few films that'll grab a few people that aren't actors just for, like, bit parts.
Part role,
just little parts or a bit of a character. But, like,
lead roles
is pretty unheard of.
But they did it.
They did it.
They killed it. I thought Ray, that his character was fantastic. Like, I thought his character it felt real, it felt authentic. Like I said, they weren't trying to they weren't pushing it. It never felt like it was, them acting. It just felt very authentic, like very visceral.
What was the other? Is that the older brother?
Ian's
the older brother.
Yeah.
Props to him too. Man, I fucking hated him from frame one.
Yeah, you hate him.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
But then I hated him, but then you're just like, you love to hate him because you see what he's kind of going through.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm just so impressed of how he gets these serious undertones and able to handle all this serious stuff that kids go through at almost a comedic level where they're with your buddies.
Yeah.
It's somehow cathartic that I'm going through this shit in my life, but it's okay because I got this pair of buddies that I can go, rely on. And I think that's a universal connection with anybody who watches. You don't have to be a skater. You just, if you grew up trying to fit in with any kind of social circle, especially nowadays, of people trying to fit in, online or whatever social circle they try and enter, I think they would enjoy watching this.
Yeah, for sure. That dynamic of the friends is pretty impressive. How he's able to build the dynamic between them. Yeah. I thought, yeah. I mean that, but there's a lot of undercurrent to the whole film in general. Stuff that it took a watch or two for me to start to see how he was able to paint in these undertones of some pretty dark shit. And when I first viewed it, I just was kind of watching it. But as I started, from the very beginning, and I don't know if this was even his agenda, right? I don't know what his primary kind of motivation was going into making it. But you look at Stevie's character, and he's obviously a troubled youth. It's a coming-of-age film. He's trying to figure shit out. He's got problems at home with his brother who literally, like, beats the shit out of him. Not just like...
Not
normal just love traps or like movies.
Yeah.
Like, he gets the shit kicked out of him, which hardens you and calluses you and makes you something else when you're not getting any kind of love. And his mom's a flake to a degree. I mean, she does have the scene where she comes in and tells them, she tries to like, tell his friends that he can't hang out with them anymore, and like she's trying to be a parent. But
that's a great way to put it. Trying to be a parent.
Yeah, but she's not really good at it, right?
No.
I think she's more trying just to survive.
She's trying to survive.
She's at wit's end, just trying to make ends meet. And that's a common thing for single mom trying to hold everything together.
Yeah.
And
with two boys.
Yeah. And she just assumes life is good with them, but what they're getting into, all the the mental issues.
What's happening?
Ian.
Yeah. Ian's obviously got something going darker and deeper too.
Yeah.
And he's taking that out physically on his little brother.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, if you look into the deeper issues of Stevie, like from the get-go, like there's that scene, and we were talking about it a bit before, Todd, which is like the scene where he comes home, Stevie comes home, and it's after he's got high and he's drunk and he gets basically laid.
Oh yeah, by the holder.
Basically. And he comes home and his brother's kind of parenting him in a way when he's like, Stevie, you are fucking up, because he can tell his younger 13-year-old brother is drunk and high, and he's yelling at him, and then Stevie kind of gets the courage and the balls to like stand up to his brother and tell him how much he hates him and tell him how much of a pussy he is and tell him he's not getting any girls and he doesn't have any friends, and he starts like standing up to him, right?
Yeah.
And then that scene where he runs around into the kitchen and grabs the same scene, he grabs the orange juice, runs around, his brother catches him and literally beats the living shit out of him, punching him. But then you can see that Ian's got issues too, because after he does it, there's a bit of remorse there. He's like, fuck, what the fuck am I doing? Like, he can't control himself because he's almost crying. And then it cuts to that's what to me is interesting, because you're able to play a real dark theme there, because you cut to Stevie and he's got a cord around his neck and he's trying to kill himself. That's what it feels like. It's dark. It's like the true, like for that, he hits the nail on the head of what it's like, the darkness you might feel of like coming up, not feeling like you have a parent or any kind of mentor above you to help you in life, and like feeling like you're always at the bottom of the rung and things are never quite going the way that you want them to go. And you're like, fuck it, what am I even doing? Like, he hits that dark note, and then within a few scenes, he can flip it back around, like you were saying, Todd, and you're kind of laughing again, and you're forgetting about that lull and that darkness that happens when he's got the controller,
the N64 cord.
Just around his neck. So he's hitting these dark undertones and then flipping it around with this lighthearted camaraderie that you get with all the friends.
Yeah.
Which was growing up in the 90s.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the history of that time, that's when all of a sudden all the threats weren't external anymore. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden we had terrorism. 1993, we had the Oklahoma City bombing, one of our own.
Yeah.
We had Waco. We had all of these things that started happening that all of a sudden, we read about this stuff that happens elsewhere, but it's happening here. And all of a sudden we started to not feel safe where I'm just saying, historically, I remember going through that period of time and being scared of my dad. Well, in the Unabomber.
Yeah.
I remember the Unabomber all of a sudden happening, and someone in Utah was a victim of the Unabomber.
Right.
And I remember thinking that could have been my dad. But again, just he's done a great job of historically kind of what we were all going through during that time, and
not even having just to have been like
just that roller coaster
a
of being a
skater
teenager
necessarily in that culture. Even if you weren't in that subculture of skating, he still hits on the themes. He's just using that as the vehicle.
Yeah,
and
it's an important piece.
Would you say like kids these days, do they still want to find a nickname? Is that like I don't know. What do you think?
That, by the way, that's
alias, like an alias,
shit,
or I guess a lot of people don't even go by their names anymore, right? Your online presence is your avatar, right? And that's so you award yourself the nickname. Where in the 90s you had to earn it, right?
Yeah.
It was more socially acceptable. It was like, dude, he gave me a nickname. That's
Yeah.
like a cool thing. And now it's just like, oh, I'm gonna choose my avatar. I'm gonna choose my nickname. You know, this is my skin.
Right. This is my hand.
This is my hand. Right? Yeah.
It's my handle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you have
But that scene's hilarious, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
which
He
is
earns it.
because they're talking about a serious topic,
Mm.
which is you know, like questions that people might have, and it deals in some ways with race and ethnicity.
Of
and-
black people getting a sunburn.
Yeah. So I think he brings it, and then but Stevie's response, which is great.
Oh,
So like it's like, what are black people?
yeah.
Like he's just saying we're all just people, and everyone was, they see the deepness of it, and they're like, oh, and they love it, and they call him Sunburn based on this conversation that they had. That's like natural too. Like when you're around buddies and you're around friends, and all of a sudden like someone says something or does something, and before you know it, someone's got that nickname.
You've been dubbed. Something,
It's there. Yeah. So I
it's
thought
irrevocable.
yeah, now it is permanent. The subtle acting, because I think just to highlight a little bit of that again, you know, that to me, if you are looking to be an actor, like those that are interested in acting, there's certain scenes in this movie that you can learn from these kids who are non-traditional actors on how to act, because their subtlety. And there's a specific scene that I'm talking about, which is when right after his mom comes and he's pissed at his mom, right? And his mom, and he's out in the back of the skate shop and he's throwing his board and he's mad. And he's like, this was the night before, he got drunk, he got high, he got laid, like, well, semi-laid, however you want to describe it. But for him, for a 13-year-old, that was laid. He got laid.
I never got that laid when I was 13.
That way. Yeah.
That was, but then he's out, he's frustrated, and then the dark scene where he's got the cord around his neck, and his brothers beat the shit out of him, and then he's in the back, and he's at the end of his rope. He like feels like, hey, this is it. And then Ray comes out, and the subtle, and I'm getting to the acting because it's real simple, by the way. Like the blocking, the setup, the camera, like it's like one shot,
Two kids
sitting against a wall, and the acting of Ray in that, the character Ray in that scene is so good. It's so subtle. It's not like in your face. It's not hard. And he's just talking about, he sees that Stevie's, you know, he's down and he's like really feeling like shit. And just the way that it was written and acted, and he's telling him about, like, you know, if you were to go into other people's closet, you'd see all the shit they have, and you wouldn't. And then he tells him about his little brother, and like when I went into my closet after my brother passed away, and I'd see his clothes. And there's a line in there that I love, and he delivers. What he's like, I'd go in and I'd see my little brother's clothes in there after, and the only thing he said was, it was weird.
Oh, yeah.
And as simple as that is, like, I know that's a simple line, but it's like, he was just saying it was like, sometimes when you're thinking about writing a scene like that, I feel like you're going to try to get all deep and not maybe even melodramatic to an extent.
Yeah.
And he just says, like, he shares this story about his brother passing. He's telling Stevie, you know, this and that. And then he's like, it was weird to see my brother's clothes in that closet and know that he wasn't there. And then the follow-up, which is like, one thing that happened was like, he's like, fuck shit came over, and all he wanted me to do is he just said, come skate with me. And then he's like, let's go. And like, that was it. It was like they just went skating, you know? Like, that to me is like the once again, I keep using that word, but it's like the essence of like friendship and like bonding as a kid, which is like the simplicity of not necessarily being the biggest shoulder to cry on, because you don't know, and you're not sure how to really articulate it, but it made it feel real.
Yeah.
Like, you went and said, I know it's not easy, things happen, shit goes down, you're my boy, let's go skate. And like, that just kind of just lifted the whole scene back up. But the acting in that kid, Nakel Smith, I think was his name. I can't remember.
Stevie.
Ray
Right.
did so good in delivering that scene. Anybody who wants to learn how to act and like deliver like heartfelt, undertoned, deliveries as a performer. Like, I thought that was a fantastic scene. And I think it's kind of sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
I thought he did fantastic as an
And I
actor.
think that's something, Jonah Hill having acted in all those great
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then being able to do his directorial debut, he's able to really catch that, as a director, be able to pull that performance, or recognize the performance in that cut. I think another scene, for a first time director to take on a sex scene and a teenage sex scene where a kid loses her virginity,
Yeah.
like, whoa, he's just that's ballsy, man. And he handles it very well. Like that whole scene where he's just growing up, and he's a different kid while walking out of that room, right, with that subtle smile on his buddies,
Yeah.
or he's all of a sudden he's this man,
He's
But
transformed.
What he's dealt with, yeah, that stuff is so hard to show transformation in your characters, like a physical transformation, having gone through an experience, and it's a well directed scene. I think difficult scene to direct with you.
And you also think
handling that kind of stuff.
in that scene and just throughout the movie, like talking about the directing, which is like, it's all simple. The blocking, the positioning, how they shoot it,
It's very natural.
in terms of, like, there's not
nothing staged. You don't ever feel anything staged.
not
in
really.
film.
It just feels like you're just kind of a fly on the wall. It's got a little verite style.
I was saying
to it.
that's kind of
even
like
though-
it felt almost a doc in some part. I mean, besides
No, it does. for sure.
it almost
Yeah.
and I mean that's a tribute to the actors also, that you feel like you're just watching a real person go
Yeah.
through that real time.
It's easy as a first time, and I'm not an actor, but I've worked with actors, and it's like, it's easy for actors to get in front of a camera and then take it up
Yeah.
and not be natural.
It's harder to scale it back and be natural. Yeah.
Exactly.
Especially if they're stage actors.
So you're right. That is it is a tribute to like their performances. But that scene's it's almost uncomfortable and like, but because it's so for that reason, because it feels so real. You feel like you're
Honestly, I was
peeping in on this thing.
I
Like,
grew up
shit.
conservative, but then I felt like I'm losing my virginity, and if I lost my virginity, that's how it would be.
I think
I am losing my virginity
There
in
are-
this movie.
Todd, I agree.
Why didn't that happen to me? You know what I mean?
Don't tell me.
When you're 13, you have a 16-year-old.
You got it, man. If you like all of a sudden, how
Oh, I'm
old?
jealous.
She's like what, 3 or 4 years
I'm
older,
jealous of some
girl walks
sunburn.
up
The
to you.
13-year-old me was going.
Damn it.
The 13-year-old, yeah.
The 13-year-old Gabe was going, wait, how come that didn't happen to me?
Yeah.
Because a 16, 17-year-old girl,
You're at a party,
you're at a party,
and all of a sudden you're there.
and I'd have been, like, how he captured the nervousness was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Because I'd have been more nervous than Stevie was.
Oh.
I'll tell you that much. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't have lasted
I mean,
12 seconds.
Stevie's a little bit of a player. You know what I mean?
Yes, you just got my O face. Is that a problem?
No, it's
Okay.
Brann's getting O-face already.
It's been a long day.
He's a little bit of a player because he'd
yeah. He's like, I don't kiss and tell.
but I mean, once he's in the room, he even says he's nervous. But like, yeah, I'd have been way more nervous than him. He's a callous kid. He's been through some shit, so he can handle it. But that scene is just done really well because it almost feels once again like, and it just felt like am I a third wheel here? Like what? Because it was so.
Should I be in here?
Yeah, exactly. Because it felt so real, you know. And that's
what
a
it
tribute
was.
to like the way they shot it and put it together. So I thought that was great. That's hard to hit, and he did it. So
Do you feel like some of the intimacy, because that's the other thing, and overall, I felt it was a very intimate film.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you
Hugely
think
intimate.
the 4:3 helped with that intimacy? Because I feel like it did. I felt like I felt like
Interesting, yeah.
You
No,
know-
I didn't think about it that way, but I see what you're saying.
I think that's probably one of the reasons I felt like a fly in the wall, and because he felt kind of confined in a way. We're so used to this huge
brings you in.
We
canvas.
have gone full circle on that because it was like how how wide aperture you can get, and now you look at Instagram and how things are framed now, and we want that intimacy again.
I mean, we just shot for advertising piece for Stella Artois. We shot it 4:4, and we're shooting. I mean, so we're playing with frames again, which is a lot of fun. But I really feel like I was saying before, I feel like that was a. I mean, yes, it was the 90s. Everything was shot that way, but I really felt a lot of the intimacy was because of that
that's a good
screen.
point. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I didn't think of it that way initially because I thought about it more about just being the era.
Yeah.
Which is like that's what you would have seen potentially, particularly in a skate type movie. It'd have been 4:3.
Right.
You know? But I think you're right. I think it closes down the framing, and as a result it kind of increases some of the intimacy or the feeling of like you're there.
Almost encroaching in some scenes. Like I feel like
that's the word. Is like that's what I mean about with him and her. With Este was her name. Like I remembered her name because I was thinking I was Stevie. I was wishing it was when I was 13.
13. Because was she supposed to be like 16 or 17?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So that's
anyway.
And so they shot, but they shot 4:3, 1.33 by 1, 16 millimeter. And
that's ballsy,
Yeah.
To pitch that, I think just to say I want to go backwards and shoot a 4.
Yeah.
Movie.
I mean, because I would feel like a lot of them would say, well, just shoot it, and then we can crop it later.
100%. Because everyone you can't, no matter what, and I've had discussions about this with my friends, and one of my friends who's a really, really talented photographer, right? And he's very much film centric. So he not that he hates digital, but he's very much like there's something you can't replicate digitally when you
100%.
Versus film.
Tarantino.
Well, a lot of a lot of directors like Nolan and Tarantino, like there's certain directors who Spielberg, they don't shoot on anything but film.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason, and it's not a thing of like elitism in filmmaking, but it's a real thing because you can't, no matter how good the camera, and there's something different that it captures with the chemical process of film. And so, but to sell that, if you're looking, and I was doing some research to sell that, right? Because the thing is, like, if you're going to go make a film, and this is his directorial debut, you still have to find financiers, you still have to find the investors, the producers, the people to help you put it together. And to sell that is hard.
Because executives, they would insist
100%. They're not going to look
shoot
at
it normal, and then we'll see.
Not only that, I think the bigger thing is, hey, because you can shoot the Super 16, and it doesn't have to be 4:3.
Correct.
His thing is like, I got to do 4:3. I think that's the bigger convincing to do is like, I want it to be 4:3, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
That had been hard, and I was doing a little research on it, and he was talking about that process because only one, and I heard an interview with Jonah Hill, and Jonah Hill said only one other film, I guess in the history, has been shot on 4:3 that's actually grossed over $100 million. So only one film in the history of cinema has grossed over $100 million that's been a 4:3 aspect ratio. One. So for you to go
before his
his hasn't grossed 100 million yet.
Right, but
I hope it does because it's that good. I doubt that it will.
I have no idea what film that is.
I think, but the film. No, he said it. Jonah Hill said it.
Grand
Budapest Hotel.
Oh, that's right.
So he put a presentation together and took it to Scott Rudin, who's the producer, and A24, who's the distributor, and did this presentation with mainly using images from Grand Budapest Hotel mixed with some text because he didn't have other images to go through, so he was just alternating between a couple images of Grand Budapest, text, and then Grand Budapest again because there was nothing else to reference. Because the convincing is still like, I have to shoot it this way in order for the style and the feel of what I'm trying to do, and trying to convince the money people to do it. And they did it. As a tribute to Scott Rudin, who's the producer, to go, well, if that's what it's going to take, then we'll go that route. Because that movie, for me, doesn't portray the same way if it's 16 by 9 shot digitally. You know what I mean? Or if it's, or whatever they decide to shoot, at whatever aspect ratio. Or if it's just shot digitally, and then, like you said, in the post process, they go and try to recreate that feel and that look, because it doesn't quite translate. You can't quite get it right.
You can't quite get it right. And also, I think as good as a DP as you, when you're restricted by that, you're going to shoot it differently.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot it.
And I thought it was shot great.
Oh, that was great. And I thought all the lighting was very natural, nothing crazy. It was, the mood was correct at the right places and the right times. It didn't have that overproduced where they're putting every single pixel exactly where it needs to be. Yeah, it was just
going back to that cinema verite, that documentary almost style to it.
But they had the style like the 90s skateboard movies and videos that come out on VHS.
Yeah.
That people would buy. To learn the tricks, but it was just, you had the fisheye lens.
Yeah.
You had the skateboard tracking shots of them just riding through the city.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Did the actors actually shoot those?
From my knowledge, they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it felt like.
They're all pro skaters. So if they
they've been shooting their own shit for.
I can only assume it'd be a weird insurance thing, because otherwise it'd be weird not to have them shoot it.
Yeah.
You look at this stuff, and I think with the GoPro stuff today, it's just overshot. Like, everybody has a GoPro. You put it on your mountain bike, you put it on your surfboard, and you get that shot. And I've seen it over and over again. And it hands down, it's like smooth now, but there's just something to feel where you take an athlete or just somebody like skateboard, and you just hand them a camera, and it's shaky, and they're just trying to figure it out themselves. There's more realism to it, you know, and I think we lose it. It's just give and take, because you have this cool technology. I mean, you have the drones that can follow you now. You wear the bracelet and it'll track you, and you get these beautiful shots. But is that really what you really want to feel, or do you want to get that feeling like you're right there, you know, and you're going through the same motions as whatever?
Well, in an interview, Jonah Hill said, going forward, if he has a choice, unless the story calls for it, he never wants to shoot digital.
Wow.
You know, now
he
may
feel of the
because
film
there's some. Now he's coming from the class of Scorsese and like guys that, I mean, he's learning from those guys. You got to remember, like, he's coming on set as an actor, and he's under the tutelage of like Judd Apatow, Martin Scorsese, like all those guys, and they all shoot film, you know. But he said he didn't want it. He said he wouldn't. Unless the story called for it, he would shoot on film, always. So, and I think it pays off for him. It definitely pays off for him in this film, right? So tell me your favorite scene, T. Favorite scene.
Favorite scene.
Or scene that kind of doesn't have, you know, I use the word favorite, but the scene that you go, okay. That stood out.
For me, for him is that turning point, and it's real subtle. But if you're a skater and the first time you learn how to ollie and you bust out that first trick after you've been practicing over and over. I mean, he almost dies trying to ollie, and then finally he gets an ollie down where you can just jump and you kick up your skateboard.
And after he tells his mom on Blockbuster night that
so
he doesn't want to watch a movie, I want to skate. I loved that.
Well, see, I love that you told me he's a skater. I mean, him going and just purposely fucking up every single time. I love that. Anyway, sorry.
That scene, and then the scene where, as a 13-year-old, and this is true nowadays too, you just want to fit in.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think you'll go to extremes. You'll do anything. Mm-hmm. You find that circle of friends, and you'll do anything.
Yes.
It's not peer pressure. It's just, I want to be a part of this group. And for him, it's jumping off the school roof. Which is just so ballsy. I was like, I mean, he really could have died. Like, just right there. They could have ended the film right
and
there.
in that scene, they all sit around after he falls, and they're all, oh, he's dead. He's dead. you know, which is what you would do as you'd be like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
You just yell it out.
Yeah.
You know?
He's dead.
But you're rooting for him at that point because he wins. Like the scene plays out and he earns their respect.
Yeah.
By doing that, and it took that to get there.
I loved that shot too, which is like after Ray tells him, I'm gonna go hit this gap, and they're like, okay, and then it cuts to the jib shot, and it's like, and you hear that song. Dun, 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 and the song's going to the rays of the camera to the roof of the elementary school. I loved that, and then it kind of slides and pans over to them, and they start jumping. That moment too, it was so well done because you have the two bigger kids that clear the gap, and then the younger kid that's just a little older than Stevie stops because he's nervous, which is all of us. We've all been in that position where you're trying to prove something, and then you just can't go through with it. It reminds me of riding my BMX bike down in the goalies, in the clay goalies by my house, and like you'd have some of my friends would hit those jumps, and then I had to start to like figure out how to hit them too, and I pulled a Stevie, right? You
pulled a Stevie.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is pre-YouTube, right? This is pre-parkour.
Yeah.
All of that.
You know, you try and pull the biggest stunt and videotape it.
Yeah.
And these are just kids. I can't remember were they taping?
I mean, the cool part about the story and the characters is that fourth grade, the white kid, he's always out there filming. You know.
That's what they did.
Because he's like, I want to make movies.
Yeah.
Which I wonder how much is that. I know it's not really an autobiographical film. I'm sure that Jonah Hill skated as a kid and did that because everyone at least tried it to an extent. I'm sure he did all that. Plus, he's from L.A. So, like, by the way, having like it had the L.A. vibe to it, even without having to be on the nose about it. It felt that way. And having lived in L.A., like it felt like that. I thought it did, but I think everybody's tried skating. You know, I don't think it was an autobiographical film, but I think that moment where he's like trying to prove to his friends and he falls off it's so well done. I'm obsessed with the track too, which I did some research on, which is a track by a Hungarian band named Omega, and I don't know how to pronounce the title of the song because it's in a different language, but that song it was like the music supervisor or Jonah or whoever did that, like perfect song selection for that scene. So you have the scene where he tries to skip the gap, jump the gap,
and then when he ollies for the first time,
and then the ollie for the first time,
and then of course how he loses virginity.
I mean the visceralness of it, and but also when he's doing the ollie, like the other thing is like I thought this film was phenomenally edited. I thought the editing was fantastic. I thought it was well done. I thought it was well put together. I loved the subtleties of it, the littleness, the not over the top, not overly stylistic, like not trying to make it that scene when he's doing the ollie and it's just doing jump cuts and it's just kind of progressing that way. I thought it was great.
And then he just runs in the house and it's a long shot.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, we were talking about, like the coverage is minimal.
Yeah.
If you look at the film, like the coverage is pretty minimal, and it works really well. And maybe it goes back to that fly on the wall feeling, the doc style, you know, where you don't have multiple setups or whatever. So those are good scenes. Yeah. Recommend this movie, Todd?
Oh yeah, I think whether you're a skater or not, I think if you've gone through adolescence, puberty. I'm a late bloomer, so I really connect to a lot of stuff. Learned a lot. I learned a lot.
This is a maturation film for Todd.
All right, maturation. Yeah, again, forget the 5th grade classes. Watch this movie.
All right, Brannon. What scene stood out in the film and kind of?
You know, the scene that resonated with me was when Sunburn. I like calling him Sunburn. Before he was Sunburn, and he thanked the kid. What's his name again?
Which one?
I think it's shit fuck.
Fuck shit.
Fuck shit. I only got it once.
Get the arrangement right.
Yeah. Well, he's got that scene. It's near the beginning of the film.
Syntax.
I mean,
I don't even know if that's what that means. I just wanted to say that word.
Hey, that's the name of our podcast. No. So I feel like I resonated with that kid. It was, because he was still kind of, it was right before he was really, really hardened. And he was still had that little bit of that nice streak in, but it seems like he couldn't say the right thing no matter what. Like he was just like, I think he was like, don't say thank you.
Oh yeah.
People think we're gay when you're if you.
But that wasn't fuck shit that did that.
That wasn't fuck shit.
No.
Ruben?
Oh, that's Ruben. That's right. So
He's the kid. So the hierarchy in the group, there's a hierarchy, which is always interesting because not when you get older that fades, but when you're in high school or junior high, there's definitely a hierarchy to some extent. So you had Ray, I'd say Ray, fuck shit, Ruben. Sunburn. Fourth grade's just in there floating somewhere.
What's the kid, the videographer?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
He's in there floating. I don't know where his hierarchy is.
Yeah. He probably, he's definitely varies, yeah. But
it was Ruben.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to step in and be like, he even says it outright.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a badass. I smoke weed. I fuck bitches. And everything he's saying is completely false.
Bullshit. Yeah.
It's bullshit.
He wishes
he was
doing all that stuff. Yeah. But it was just kind of interesting just because I've been kind of in that position many times.
That's because I always thought I thought it was really fantastically done with when he hands him the cigarette and he just takes it and starts to try to smoke. You don't smoke, and he's like,
no, wrong brand.
This is a different brand. He's trying to just go with it.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I mean, I guess we've all kind of been in that position where you see something you resonate with. You see something that's like, I want to be part of this. And you're trying so hard to get into that. I mean, just kind of from a filmmaker's point of view, he's the PA that can't do shit right. Like, no matter what you're doing, you cannot get it right. Like, you're grabbing, and you're lying, of course, when they say, hey, go grab a stinger. You don't have a fucking clue what a stinger is. You don't. But you say, yeah, I'm on it. I'm going to do it.
What's a stinger?
But no, I just remember
he's trying everything he can to fit into that group. He's willing to go all in. He follows that up. There's that other scene where Ruben drinks all the water, and Ray comes in and is like, dude, you drink all the water, go fill that shit up.
And then he's like, yeah, all got it.
And then he's like, hey, yo, Stevie, fill the... Oh, yeah, I'll fill it up.
And he jumps up and he fills it up.
Because he wants to be in it.
I just felt that was such a great setup to where, and something that I think we've all kind of been through at some 100%. Point.
It goes back to the relatability. If you've been a teenager, a boy, a girl too, but I think there's a little different circumstances for male, female. But nonetheless, like having been a teenager in that age group, in that time frame, y'all felt it. Y'all went through something in some way similar.
And then that satisfaction of finally feeling that click. Like, okay, I don't have to prove myself anymore. I'm in.
Because he proved himself once he fell off the roof.
He fell off the roof.
And Jonah Hill does a great job in storytelling with a counterpoint, like an opposite view with Ian, the brother. Because he's the ultimate view of this facade of a teenager who has to own every pair of shoes and the chains and the music, and it's perfect, right? His room is perfect, his life is shit. And that's a great contrast to Stevie, because Stevie, he's trying so hard, but somehow Stevie just naturally is the bomb, right? He doesn't realize it, but he's just this lovable kid that's just gonna make it because he's trying. And then you have Ian, who has the money, he's got everything, and he's got nothing. I mean, he's got no friends. He's got a lot of mental issues that he's dealing with. And I think those worlds collide when he gets in almost, a little snafu scuffle with fuck shit. And fuck shit calls him out, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, go ahead, let's go. And he can't do it. He's this tough brother who can beat up his little brother, but when it comes, when push comes to shove, he's just like a cowering coward.
When he's confronted by someone that actually is able
in that world, in that tough world, who's living that thug life, that like I'm into drugs, I'm into whatever, you name it. That's my life. I choose.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And Ray, and another contrast is his friend Ray is like, I don't do any of that shit. I'm having meetings. I want to get sponsored.
Yeah.
I'm going to work my ass off, and that's how I'm going to make it in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all these, parallels that he's contrasting here. And again, there's nothing pretentious about any of those characters, but you put them all in the same room in the same film, and you're really able to draw the other side really well, and you see that.
It's like you said, the contrast, which is like identifiable amongst, this is this person, this is this person, and nobody seems the same. That's great.
That underlying spine or theme is that at the end of the day, as a teenager, we lie about it. Like, you do everything. You're so insecure. You just want to be. You put your best foot forward, and we do that. Like on Facebook, Instagram, right? Like, how do all these people go on these vacations? These cars. Are their kids that perfect? We play these lives that, and Jonah Hill is like, okay, put a camera in your house for 3 days and see what shit goes down, right? People trying to kill themselves, getting drunk, doing drugs, losing their virginity. That's real.
Yeah, and he kills it with that. Does a great job.
And he just does a good job of just setting up each of those characters at the beginning of the film, and there was setting up Ian.
That
when
shot you talked about.
I love that first shot. Just like the very first thing, just comes barely, bam.
I also love the hang time of it, because it's one shot. The camera's set up in the back of the hallway. It sits for a good 20 seconds before any action actually takes place. So you're getting a little bit of anxiousness going.
Like, what's going to happen?
And when he comes bolting out and runs into the wall, and then his brother just starts beating the shit out of him, now the action's definitely started. That's a great opening.
But see, I agree with that, but I thought I understood Ian when Sunburn gives him that CD and he puts the trash on top of the CD case.
Yeah. No.
I thought that was a brilliant, I loved that. I hated, I was like, oh, you motherfucker. But just setting up their relationship on a different level than, because up to that point, big brothers beat up little kids. Their younger siblings. But that was a direct fuck you. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
But it also, what it then does is sets up the dynamic between the older and younger brother, and because the build up to that in the beginning of the film is Stevie really trying to emulate everything that his older brother does. When he leaves and he goes in the room and he's looking,
taking inventory of
and he's playing with this stuff and he's looking at his clothes and he's putting on the hat and he's like, "What's up, fool?" He's trying to be everything that his older brother is, and at the moment, that's like a point of non-acceptance. His brother's like, "You can try everything you want, you can do everything. I don't want you. I don't accept you." But it's a physical action, and he's like, "I don't accept you." And as a result of that, it leads him into, like, he's searching in his own way for other things and other people, because he's not getting it from his brother.
Or defense from the mother in that scene. She's
oblivious.
She's oblivious
to the relationship between her sons.
She is, and all she's thinking about at that point is her lost early youth. Because all she says, "Hey, you could be breastfeeding on that."
Or she's not even listening, because she's talking about this guy that she's dating and has kind of feelings for. And she's like, "I got to remind." She's talking about her life. And she's not in any way interested in what her boys' life are. And you see it in Ian even more in that scene, which is like, he's like orange juice. He's like trying to get the waiters. He's like not listening, because he's like, "I'm here, it's my birthday, and you're talking about yourself." And then you're asking me questions about, can you imagine if? So it's a real, that's another scene that really shows like the contrast, like you were saying, T, with contrast, which is like the contrast between characters. Mm-hmm. But this is the mom in this case with the two sons.
And it's all through that performance and that dialogue. It's just, just so well. Anyway.
And this goes to, there's a lot of scenes that I loved. I mean, there's just a ton of them that I thought were fantastic. But it's interesting because I think for me, the thing that set up the movie from the very beginning was the opening, not the open, after it shows him get beat, go through his brother's stuff into the room, and then it cuts to him on the bike and he's driving down the street and he looks over, and this is another, actually, and I didn't intend it to be, but this is another example of contrast. And it's done visually. There's no language, but we immediately know who the main character is going to follow and try to become. And it shows a shot across the street of two kids with squirt guns at the same
soakers.
age as Stevie, and they're playing with squirt guns, and he looks at them and he sees what they're doing, and then it cuts to him looking at fuck shit and Ray and Ruben and all those guys in front of a store, telling the owner to go.
The Desert Storm guy?
Yeah, telling him whatever. And it cuts back to Stevie, and you see this grin on his face.
Yeah.
And he didn't get that with the two kids that were his age playing the squirt gun. So that contrast of no words, no real nothing, but immediately the setup of the film is, this is the lane, this is the road, this is where I'm going. And that's like simple storytelling, and when you think about where to kind of navigate a character, but I thought it was so beautifully done. And once again, it's subtle. If you're not thinking about that, then you're not recognizing that's what he's doing.
Because the scene could have just as easily been him coming up on those kids and seeing them. It's like, hey, that's great. But that contrast.
Show the contrast with the kids with the squirt
super
guns.
soakers.
Yeah, so
I love
super soakers.
Super
that's
soakers.
Right. Mid-90s.
Mid-90s, baby.
So I thought, there's a lot of other scenes that we could go into, but that one in particular to me also really stood out because it kind of led the protagonist throughout the whole film.
I was Desert Storm. I'll kick all your asses.
So this, this movie, it premiered at the 2018 Toronto Film Festival. Metacritic has it at 66. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 81%. Audience score is 79% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's unusual.
About 20. Should be a lot higher.
Yeah.
One thing I think from the critics, and this is a ballsy thing, but the ending. And I myself, at first, I hated the ending, but it's a good thing because I wanted more. It for me,
it was abrupt.
I was abrupt, right? And I'm like, oh man, I just want to keep watching these kids get into trouble and do stuff. But for them, it's he was able to tie up everything. He made amends with his brother. The mom comes to a realization that these kids love him and they're his bros and part of his circle, a new part of his life, and they don't want to hurt him.
They've got his back.
They're into shit that she disapproves of, but ultimately she sees that they're good for him. They spent the night, no kids don't do that. They spent the night, they were worried about him. They all got in trouble, and they're glad he's safe. And then they go on their next adventure. And I want to see that next adventure, so I'm like, why did it end?
But that to me, because I felt the same way the first time I watched it. I thought, oh, it's over?
Yeah.
Now, I love the way he did it, where he incorporated fourth grade skate video.
Yeah.
Was it Small Baby Productions? What was the name? Anyway,
was something like that, yeah.
And so I like how he incorporated the skate video at the end, but it did feel abrupt, and I agree with you. I think it could have been ranked a lot higher in terms. If you're looking at these rankings now, I don't care about them too much, but I am interested to kind of see what the overall consensus was, because I think they should have been way higher. It should have been way higher than it's rated. And I get what you're saying initially with the abruptness of the ending, but what was kind of interesting, like the way that he set it up, the way he did, was that and we'll go back to documentaries. Because a lot of times, what do they do at the end of a documentary? Maybe a sports documentary or some kind of. They have little pictures with subtitles that kind of define the next step in that person's life, right?
So went on to do blah blah blah. Yeah.
That was painted in my head, so I thought, oh, Ray, professional skateboarder. Like I'm thinking, and then I'm thinking, fuck shit, ended up doing this and that or whatever, and then I'm thinking Stevie went on what I kind of painted that and that's how I ended it for myself, and. Of course, you wouldn't do that in the movie, and it'd be real cheesy if you did. But for me, that's what helped me kind of go, oh, it was abrupt, but he left it enough and built the characters well enough for me to build my own end.
Interesting.
In that same kind of documentary fashion, right?
I've only seen the film once, and so I do want to watch it again.
It's definitely a rewatchable.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
With the abruptness of the ending, I also would say that I like the 85-minute runtime. Like, it is a little abrupt initially, but I do like the 85-minute runtime because there's nothing else to be said. He's expressed what it is that he's wanted to say. And I got this quote from him, from Jonah Hill, which I thought was cool. Once again, and then IMDb, the rating on IMDb was 7.4. So that's pretty good, actually. But it should be in the 9s. It literally should be.
He got a lot of praise for it, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of critical success overall, generally speaking. But I think that it didn't commercially do all that great.
Equating it monetary.
Yeah. And we go back to like the pitch of like ranking in 100 million like Grand Budapest did at a 4.3 ratio or 4.3 ratio aspect ratio.
You know, he had to have made back his budget though.
I would hope so. The thing that I saw was between 7 and 10 million. That was the revenue it brought in. The box office was between 7 and 10. Depends on where you check your source. Google says 9. Box Office Mojo says 7 something.
Did Box Office have an estimated budget? It didn't. So I'd be curious what his budget was.
I don't know. I don't know what the budget was, but
it's ultimately not important. But
not really when it comes to just pure cinematic greatness.
Back to directorial debut. What a home run for your first. You know?
Which brings us to he talked about that, which was like he said he wrote the film for, I guess, 4 years, and of course he's working on projects and acting and doing things. But he said this was something so personal and so close to me that what was great about that time that I was writing it was that I could go home and it was a release because I could just let go of everything else and just focus on this thing that I was trying to build. And he said, I can't remember who he said he talked to, but his statement was this, which I thought is a kind of good ending point and also kind of a cool thing, particularly for this podcast. This podcast is about first-time directors, feature film directors, right? So our first cast, we talked about our little films that we've made, but we're exploring first-time feature film directors. And this was his quote that he said something about. He said why he wanted to make the film, which is he said, I wanted to make the film or make a film that I could look back on in 20 years and be proud of. So something that felt real and felt like it was part of me and not just have made something for the sake of maybe making something, but actually make something that was very personal and real to him that he could look back and go, I'm glad I did that. So I think it's fair to say that if he does look back in 20 years, he should feel pretty proud about the film because it's really well done.
Yeah.
So that's our consensus. So I'll do a rating on it. I'd go 9.5 out of 10. If we go out of 10s, I'll go 9.5 out of 10. That's how good the movie was for me. And I could watch it 3 times repeatedly without ever being bored, and I'll watch it again. So it's definitely a rewatchable. I don't love ratings, but I will go 9.5 out of 10, just so people get an idea of what kind of movie it is.
Now, what are those objects? Are they 9 out of 10 thumbs up, stars?
Fuck shits.
Fuck shits. Okay, 9 out of 10. I'll give it 9.25 sunburns. I love Sunburn.
I'm at 9.5 too. I recommended it. I loved it. It's just one you see, and again, it's not a commercial film, but it's one you're thinking about, and the one you're laughing about, and one that's
you talk about afterwards.
You talk about, and we're able to talk about it. There's just so much you can get out of it, and there's a lot of movies out there. I mean, even the blockbusters you watch and you're done with it. You don't want to watch it again. I mean,
nice.
You paid $40 to watch it, so.
Nice. Yeah, definitely recommend it.
Bring the whole family in.
Rent it or go on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free.
Yeah.
But if not, rent it because I think it's a definite one you'll enjoy. So next podcast. So going with this theme of first time feature film directors, Irish English playwright Martin McDonagh, who became a film director, and his first feature film that he directed is called In Bruges. And I think we should, that's going to be our next cast, is a film by Martin McDonagh called In Bruges. It's currently on Netflix. And that's what we're going to be discussing next time.
In Bruges.
In Bruges. Bruges.
Open the pod bay doors, Cal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.